Hi, Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dawg, and we've got one tremendous broadcast for you today. May 9th through 11th, Tampa, Florida, the Digital Dealer Conference and Exhibition. I'm telling you, I have spoken to a number of digital dealers, and we've got three superstars on this broadcast today. Starting with John Acosta. Hello, John.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for having us.
Tell us who you are. Where are you from?
So my name is John Acosta. I'm the CEO of Vtech Dealer IT. We're based out of Doral, Florida, and we're an MSP, which is professional third-party IT department for car dealers, only for car dealerships.
Fantastic. And you'll be presenting with Big Tom.
Yep.
At the upcoming Digital Dealer. Matter of fact, that's going to be 9 o'clock on Tuesday, the 10th.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
And an old friend of mine, not physically old, but I've known him for a long time, my good friend, and get this, Big Tom LaPointe. You don't do it, not just Tom LaPointe, a Big Tom LaPointe. And he lives up to it. Hey, big guy.
What's happening?
Best day of my entire life. How you doing?
You have a special view of that every day is a gift. And, I am, today's a gift because I woke up. It got even better because I get to hang out with you here. And, I'm really looking forward to seeing you and everybody in Tampa. Of course, I live in Maryland now, in Delaware, but used to live in Tampa. So it's a little bit of a homecoming. And excited to be, I can't wait to see you on stage. I will make sure that we get everybody we know there. But excited to present with John, because this is a subject that nobody is talking about, and it's potentially one of the most expensive mistakes a dealer can make.
Go hack yourself. When I saw that, I'm glad I didn't misread it the first time. Go hack yourself. How cybersecurity can affect you financially and legally. John, how'd you come up with that title?
So it was a little bit of a play on words. A lot of these situations are self-inflicted wounds, in some capacity. So it was Tom and I have been going back and forth and figuring out kind of a catchy title for it. And Go Hack Yourself kind of has that implication of to say, this is usually a self-inflicted wound in some capacity, but also, it's something that you can't really ignore. So we came up with that title that way.
I got to tell you, Digital Dealer is the foremost relevant, and I say the foremost relevant conference in our industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And why do people need cybersecurity? What's the problem?
Yeah, so the reality is that we're living, just like the title says, we're living in a digital world. It is digital dealer. More and more every day, dealers are living in cyberspace in some capacity. It's the dealership's no longer confined to those four walls. And dealerships have a soft underbelly because they don't necessarily have the budget, the expertise, the team to be able to protect them. And they're doing business outside of the confines of their walls. So personal identifiable information, having security protocols in place to be able to protect those customers' information is extremely important. And it happens all day, every day. There's board.
I give them everything right now. I can tell you're passionate about this.
Absolutely.
Now, I know why you're here. You have a cybersecurity company, but Tom, what are you doing here?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. No, Jim, and thanks again for having us. I'm the internet director for 14 dealerships, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia. Our four dealerships is Preston Automotive Group. Our big dealership finished 33rd in the country last year in volume for Ford, which isn't at the top, but it's certainly close.
So you've got a lot of cyber exposure. That's why you're here.
A lot of cyber exposure and a lot of experience working with people not paying attention. I could see it from the inside. And, John and I had been talking, and usually I speak on, digital marketing or lead handling process, all of which is really important. But I said, John, there's not one session I've ever seen at an NADA or digital dealer that helps dealers get their head around this. And then we did have the new law upgrade that basically says a dealer is a financial institution. So our culpability, our exposure has gone up exponentially. And John, that's his core. He can speak to that.
Well, let me ask you a question, or either of you. What is the exposure? Where are we vulnerable?
John, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say everywhere. That's the reality. Is that every point that connects to the internet is a huge vulnerability point, and the user usually is the biggest vulnerability because they're the easiest to trick.
What
Jim,
are these people stealing? What are they taking?
they're basically trying to take any and all information that they can get their hands on, and
Data theft.
exactly, and the personal identifiable information, which is
They
a
want
name,
the personally identifiable, the transactional, the financial,
exactly.
the three categories of data.
Exactly. So people are easily tricked, and this happens all day. And we have some really cool stuff at our presentation that will show how easily people are tricked. It's a little bit like magic, but it's a lot of just little psychology tricks that people fall for all day, every day.
Now, John, I'm going to ask you: are you just riding through the streets of cyberspace like Paul Revere sounding the alarm, or is it? Do you have some examples where somebody has actually been burned by cybersecurity? Have you got some real life examples?
Absolutely. And I mean, we get calls all the time of things that are happening, and you don't have to go very far. You just look at the news, and there's the Colonial Pipeline, and there was the Colonial Pipeline issue. There's been some major cyber attacks across the country, and that's not even talking about the small and medium-sized dealers that get hit all the time. And you could probably see, if you do a Google search with dealership struck with ransomware, there's
No. Ransomware is hitting car dealerships?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Unbelievable. Tom, have you had any experience with this?
Thank God, no. But right in the 6 months before I started here, we had been hacked, and all of the confidential information released that was in our company system. We didn't lose customer information. Most of that's stored in vendor systems, which is a whole separate conversation about that. We're going to talk about how to make sure your vendors are protecting your customers' information. We've all heard
that scares me to death.
Well, the government's been
I'm going to
hacked.
tell you something, John and Tom. I audited a dealer in Chicago.
Okay.
No, I take it back. Erase that. Detroit. One of the biggest Chrysler dealers in Detroit. And we looked at what information was going out of their DMS. And I spoke in a college course about this just this morning. 84 different entities were taking data out of their DMS unchecked.
Yep.
Dealers have no idea. Some of these were mail sale companies they did business with 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Is this something you're going to be talking about? That
Absolutely.
type of thing?
Yeah. So that's one of the stipulations of the new law, is that you have to audit who your vendors are on a periodic basis and make sure that they're keeping up with the safeguards.
So the vendors are one of the biggest leaks. I mean, it's amazing how much information is going out. So stealing your customer information certainly has a value.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is Digital Dealer. That's May 9th through 11th, Tampa, Florida. Go to digitaldealer.com. And I'm personally speaking. How about that, Tom?
It's been a long time since we've seen you on stage, and that's going to be literally probably the highlight of my event. Except it's a close battle between that and karaoke, but certainly.
Wait a second.
Certainly, but karaoke is more social. But certainly the business aspect of it, I'm looking forward. I mean, last time I heard you speak, the room was riveted and a great topic and great focus. And I heard NADA was I didn't get to go because we were in the middle of a buy sell, but heard it was a lot better event than people expected. And Tampa, it'll be the third digital dealer since things opened up. Florida has been kind of freewheeling it all the way through, so it should be a good time. And
The last time I spoke was in Florida. I spoke in Clearwater, 2019, 3 days before I was diagnosed with the cancer. And I haven't been on stage since.
So I'm excited to see. I'm happy to see that you're healthy enough to do this, and super excited to see you're going to be on stage. And Melinda, thank you. That's nice. Certainly, Jim leading the way and the talent comment here. But you asked of my experience. There are things that we don't think about as a dealer for exposure. I was talking we're up in Wilmington, our new dealer. I was talking to a couple of people about the fact that I was going to be speaking in Tampa. They said, yeah, one of our customers, our clients had an HVAC company, and or this guy was a vendor for them. And he said they owed him like 10 grand. He called me and said, hey, what's going on? She said, we got hacked. So if you've ever had the power go out in the dealership, think about all the things you can't do. You can't desk a deal. You can't write an RO. I mean, yes, you can go back to manual mode, but it's hard to pull up a factory, VIN incentive form without a computer. And all of these things that you couldn't do. The power went out in our dealership, and the whole backup generator conversation is a whole different topic. But we had to send people home. There was literally nothing. We're driving up to other dealers to print a deal and submit it to the bank. If the power went out in your dealership or you unplugged every computer, what couldn't you do? And that's almost everything except wash a car.
Amazing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Big Tom LaPointe, Preston Auto Group. And you're also listening to John Acosta, who is the CEO of Vtech Dealer IT. Is that everything you do, John?
Yeah, so we do the whole gamut of IT services for dealers. From buy sells, we've done a lot of buy sells. We're buy sell experts, all the way to the break fix, which is, hey, my computer, I can't log into my computer, need to reset the password. And dealers that leverage us correctly use us as an intelligence center almost. It's like the guys that are behind the scenes that make everything work. And suddenly when we're involved, things start shaping up, the network gets better, people, a finance manager is not frustrated because he can't spin a deal at 11 o'clock, the last deal of the month on Saturday night. He calls us, we get him back printing again, saves his month. So we're like a lot of dealers' secret weapon to say, hey, these guys have the horsepower to be able to help us in time of need.
You just said something. Now you said spin a deal. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It doesn't it come from spinning the deal on the Oki, the impact printers?
Well, sort of. No, it doesn't.
No. Okay.
Now I've been in the business 48 years.
Okay.
And when I first got into F&I in 1982, there was no such thing as a fax machine. We used a machine called a QUIP, QUIP.
Okay.
And you can look up QUIP machine on Google. And it was a cylinder that spun at a very high rate of speed. And you'd put the credit application in it and put the phone in it. And the stylus would go across and read the credit application, and it took 6 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And the salesman would come in the F&I office and they said, would you spin this in for me?
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. I thought you were from the impact printers that they would.
Google up QUIP, QUIP
okay.
machine. There's got pictures of them all over the internet.
That's great. That's great.
I am so looking forward to meeting you and to seeing Tom again at Digital Dealer. That's May 9th through 11th. And if you're not registered, especially if you're a dealer principal, if you're a decision maker in the dealership, you need to get there because there is new technology. There are new things being done. 3/4 of the vendors you're using in your dealership are outdated and obsolete. And you need to look at some of the new things that have come along that have something to do with today's way of doing business. Today's modalities, methodologies of doing business. You need to be there. Digital Dealer, May 9th through 11th. Now, if you're out there right now, I'm talking to you. If you're out there right now, I want you to go to your computer, get on digitaldealer.com and sign you and some of your key people up, book the plane, and go to Tampa, Florida, May 9th through 11th. And on the 10th, you can catch John and Big Tom here. Go hack yourself. I love the title. Go hack yourself. How cybersecurity can affect you financially and legally. You can get stung. You know, John, I oftentimes as a consultant, I'll walk through a dealership, and one of my worst tricks that I pull on a dealer or the employees, I'll go there at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll go in through the service department into the showroom. And when the dealer comes in at 9 o'clock or whatever time that is, I will lay $200,000 worth of violations on his or her desk.
Oh, wow.
I don't open a drawer. I don't go in an locked room, just things that are laying around in plain sight.
Yeah, like driver's license on the copy machine.
Absolutely incredible.
Credit apps on the desk.
You know, so we're talking about digital dealer and Tom, you've spoken at a number of digital dealers, haven't you?
Yes, sir. This is I think 12 or 13, and probably the least glamorous and most important topic, of any of them.
No, it is glamorous because I go into dealerships all the time. As you know, I've worked with literally thousands of dealers. I talk to 100 of them a month, and I'm going to tell you right now. You know, I see people, well, we've been doing that for years. How many times have I heard that?
Yeah.
How many times do you have to wake up? Everybody that got in trouble woke up one morning, they got out of bed, they yawned, they put on their clothes, they had no idea they were going to get hit that day.
Yeah.
You know, Jim, more dealers spend more money on their key machine than they do on protecting the data and their computer systems.
It doesn't sound sexy till you get hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like life insurance, oh, I'm going to be okay. And, or anything else, there've been people that had heart attacks and, I'm going to be okay. And when it comes to business and you've got all of your customers' private information at stake, when you've got, payroll for your employees at stake, you've got the income of, potentially hundreds of people at stake, all of a sudden it takes a different priority. You've got this week, the federal government warning that, Russian hackers are looking to take money out of American pockets, and maybe Russians aren't directly, corporately going after dealerships, but there are a whole bunch of people, just like lawyers, who look at us as a big pile of money.
Yep.
A big, huge pile of money. And that's going to be May 10th. You guys are on at 9 a.m. Is that what I'm hearing, John?
Absolutely. Correct. We're going to be there at 9.
First thing.
An executive session. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody that has anything to do with the data in a dealership needs to attend, but executives, general sales managers, general managers, dealer principals, decision makers, service directors, these are the people that need to. How about the service department? How much of that information is being stolen out of the service department?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it all comes from the same bucket at the end of the day, and they pull into the same buckets and pull the information as much as possible. But one of the things, Jim, that you said is that there's this notion that cybersecurity and ease of use at the dealership with technology are kind of in competition, which is not necessarily the case. What we've seen is that the more you get your arms around the technology and the more you understand it, and the more you have guys that are facilitating the same rails that you use to facilitate every single process, every single implementation, leveraging your technology, are the same rails that you have to do for cybersecurity. So you might as well, if you're remodeling the house, you might as well put some locks and some cameras on it, right? That's kind of the notion of it. It's just to look at it from that perspective. So you're going to have a nice, clean, tidy house that has a great ambiance. you might as well, like, we're already doing the tidying up the house, remodeling it, making it look really nice, making sure that everybody has a room to sleep in. Also put those cameras in, put the guard dog, put the ADT system, put those things in to make a comprehensive plan and strategy for support of the dealer.
Put in an Alpha Dawg.
Yeah, put in an Alpha Dawg, exactly.
Well, one of our viewers just said more deals are completely going online. More exposure. I mean, we are out there. We are in cyberspace. So security is going to be a more important issue than ever going into the future. Well, John, I am so looking forward to meeting you personally. I haven't met you in the past, and if you'll attend my session, I'll attend yours.
Yeah, I'd love to.
My session, by the way, is 20 things dealers need to change after the pandemic, and I think cybersecurity is going to be one of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was talking to Brad Pascal this morning saying how much he likes you. So he's like, man, I'm so happy that you're doing that. So I'm really excited to meet you in person.
Fantastic. Tom, always glad to see you.
Jim, it's a pleasure. If I could add one more thing, you talked about all the dealer staff, the key dealer staff, which is every single department can benefit from having their people at an event like Digital Dealer, because it's not just limited to, paid search or the latest algorithms, but for this session, vendors, the importance of cybersecurity for vendors and understanding how it affects the dealerships. And honestly, how I think from what I've seen and having been a vendor, and you can probably speak to this even more, how many vendors don't have a clue?
I had no concept. That
bringing.
Just dawned on me when you mentioned it.
So they're, all the vendors who are attending, that's a session that I think vendors need to have an understanding, and not just at the corporate CTO, CFO level, but all the way down to the frontline people helping dealers do business.
Fantastic. Okay, go hack yourself, how cybersecurity can affect you financially and legally. And you've opened my eyes. I actually want to go see your session now.
Well, thank you, sir.
Wait, bye, guys.
Jim, it's been a pleasure.